On this episode of The Radio Shop, we're going to look at this Philco 4586 from 1936 or 37. I can't remember exactly when, but somewhere around in there. Look at this gorgeous dial and the reflection in it. The eye tube probably doesn't work. This cabinet is in relatively great shape. Grill cloth is good. There's only one little thing up here where it looks like a potted plant set at the top, and other than that, looking at the sides, great shape. Owner does not want to redo cabinets, so we're even going to leave the potted plant area alone. A little quick look in the back here. We think it's all original except for it's probably had some tubes replaced, because that is not an original tube, because it would have had a goat shield like this on a ST type tube. All the wiring looks pretty good. That's probably a replacement cord, so I bet it has been looked at, but it may not be. But I bet that was a replacement cord at some point in time, because it looks a little newer than it would have been for that set. But I don't know, I was not around in 36 or 37 when these were built, so it could be an original cord, but we'll find out. Alright, well, I'm going to take this chassis out and we'll see what we, don't look at the junk there, take this chassis out and we will see what we can do with it. I do like these knobs because it's got like on-off band switch embossed in them, tuning, and I think that says phono and radio on it, but we didn't see a phono input on this device, although one version of the chassis I think had a phono input on it. So we'll look, we'll see, and we'll get busy here on Radio Shop. Stay with us. So I took this chassis side off here just to take a look at things, get part numbers off these wax capacitors, and found that this flex resistor this nichrome wire flex resistor has sprung itself, so we'll be replacing that with a piece of wire and a regular resistor. But yeah, it was kind of, what's this springy mess? Oh, it was a flex resistor. That's kind of funny. So looking around in here, this is not all original. Some of these may be. This one is definitely not. And this volume control has been replaced because this went on a tap of the original volume control, which this one does not have. So that one has been replaced. Some of these capacitors may have been replaced. That one definitely has, because that's usually not in that particular brand, and that style is not in this old of thing. But I don't know that the other ones have, but some of them may have been. So we know it's not original, or all original, because we know that's been replaced, because definitely now looking at it, it has a flat shaft, where all the rest of them, with the exception of this one down here, are a round shaft with a set screw. Okay, so I've gotten all the paper capacitors, wax paper capacitors replaced, including two down here on the RF deck. Down on the tone control, what I've got left are the two 30 microfarad electrolytic filter capacitors. Looks like there might have been a little bit of a mouse house in here. It may just be dirt. But after that, we are ready to do the smoke test. I will have to pull the speaker from the chassis and bring it over, and we can test on the bench. This has a very strange switch. Instead of just actuating the band switch normally, like the shaft would be hooked directly to the shaft of the knob, it has like a gear turner, and that gear fits in the teeth of those, and then it turns the wafers. I'm going to have to clean the band switches off just for good measure up in here, but it is a very strange kludge And it acts like somebody had stripped when we were trying to turn this earlier outside the thing. That's why it acted like it was stripped, because it doesn't really click, it rolls. So I'll have to lube this up. It does click. I will lube the little ball bearing thingy in here just a little bit so that it clicks easier. Because we were having trouble turning, it acted like it was having trouble turning earlier. There's 3 bands on this: police band, foreign band, and regular broadcast AM. So once I get these replaced, I will be ready for this is the tone control, by the way. I never understood why they stuck, sorry, this is the tone control, and this is something called sharp and cutoff. Sharp and cutoff, I believe is what the thing said, and I'm not sure what that does unless it has something to do with the way it tunes. So I gotta clean out some of this chassis. Looks like there may have been a little bit of a mouse house or mouse damage on top of the chassis, because it's kind of green and corroded, and it may just be it got dripped on from water from somewhere. But it didn't do too much damage. The coils seem to be okay looking, and I've got to replace that resistor up here that went between here and here. I cut it out. I'll have to add a piece of wire and then the resistor so that it would fit there. But that's what we're going to do. For the eye-tube socket on this Silvertone, I went ahead and redid all the wiring. This is probably not the exact color wiring, but I have lots of different colors for period looking reproduction wire. Since the wire was in such bad condition, I decided to go ahead and redo it all, because you just kind of touched it and the cloth would fall off because the rubber coating underneath it was bad. So I just redid it. We'll plug it back in. I also changed the 1 meg resistor that always goes wild in these. It causes the eye tube not to operate as much. The owner has provided a new eye tube, and we will put it in once we get things going. I'll have to put this right back. I'm going to clean this chassis a little bit because I got some dirt off of the wiring. I'm just going to clean it off so it looks nicer. Okay, so this Silvertone 4586 has had some issues, but now I've got it picking up my station plus some other stations here, and it's sounding pretty good. Got an eye tube replacement for it. Had some shorts in one of the tubes here. I rewired, of course, this. I don't have it all the way plugged in because I've got a new eye tube I'm going to put in, so why bother shoving it all the way down if you're going to put another one in. Up underneath here, I'll show in a different segment. I had to take the B plus off the band switch because on these particular things that causes arcing and burning because it's right near the ground. So it likes to arc. So I took the B plus off out of that circuit, added a coil, a choke on there so it would work correctly outside of that. Picking up a little bit of hum from something here in the house. But we'll continue working on it and getting it more put together, and when we get completely done, I need to clean this. When we get completely done, I will show the finished product inside of its case before it goes back to customer. Back underneath the Silvertone radio that we've been working on, what I had to do was remove B plus was on this band switch. Right in here, wherever my finger is pointing, it's kind of hard to see. B plus was on this band switch, and I had to remove it so that it would quit arcing when you turned it on, because the thing, now I've got everything hanging in the wind here, and then I've remade my connection back to where it goes through this choke with this, and this connection back up to here, back up to the switch where it was. Got rid of that off of there. It no longer shorts when you try to turn it on. So the switch had not gone bad yet, because what they generally do is burn up and look pretty bad. I may have a picture of one somewhere I can put up where they burn really, really bad, and then you have to completely disassemble it, completely remove all the carbon, rebuild the switch. This one had not made it to that point yet. It had quit being used before it got there. So once I removed the B plus off, I checked in there real closely with the flashlight and could not find any more carbon where it had been arcing. I scraped off what there was. There wasn't a huge burn like I've seen on pictures of other switches out on the internet. Right now my connection is hanging in the wind. I will have to chain it down, but for now, for temporarily, I have it hanging in the wind. I'm going to put a small block in where I can solder it all down to a terminal strip, and once we do that, it will be ready to go back into its happy hunting ground, and I will then also align the set once I get the shields put back on and the end put back on here. So there you go. Put the new eye tube into this Silvertone, and we can tune away from the station, and you can see the shadow gets larger as we tune away. The shadow gets tighter to help you tune in. Massachusetts.